Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sherwin, and today in this video I'll be talking about the 3 ECs that will be launching towards the end of the year and early next year 2026. For those that have been watching my video, you do know that I'm a strong believer of EC, and in fact I'm actually gunning to get an EC myself. That is why I did this research. Okay, just some table of content. I'll be running through the 3 upcoming ECs, the location and the expected launch date, followed by the land bid prices and expected launch prices, who are the developers for these 3 ECs and their past track records and design, and whether there are any transformation happening in the area, and lastly, how I would rank them based on my personal opinion and which one would I be going for. Okay, so let's move on to the upcoming launch date. The 3 ECs that are going to be launched is the one at Jalan Loyang Besar, Coastal Cabana. The name has been out. Launching 6th of December 2025. So if you do want to view the show flat or need more information, do drop me a DM or call me, okay? The next will be the one at Woodlands Drive 17. Name has yet to be announced. Launch date to be confirmed as well, but most likely maybe somewhere in January. It's actually just a street away from Norwood Grand, which performed extremely well at the start of the year. And lastly, personally, something which I feel I might be going for is Rivelle, which is at Tampines Street 95. Okay, the first EC that we launched out of these 3 would be the one at Jalan Loyang Besar, which is called Coastal Cabana. If we rank them based on their location, right, this might be just at the bottom of my list. Not saying that it's not good, but based on personal preference, even though it is just right beside downtown is wild wet and a lot of HDB, so there's a lot of amenities, but it is not as close to MRT station as the rest of the executive condo. Okay, but the good thing about this itself, if you were to notice, right, this is where Coastal Cabana is, and if you are looking outwards, right, everything in this area is actually low rise. I think around 4th to 5th story. So if you're high enough, you actually have a very unblocked greenery and sea view over here. So in terms of location, it might not fare as well, but in terms of the view, it might have one of the best view out of these 3 condos, because you seldom have executive condos having sea view, so that is a plus. Okay, I believe most of the people that are going there, they might be gunning for the views over at this direction lah. Okay, following which it will be the one at Woodlands Drive 17. Okay, if I were to zoom in a bit over here, you will notice that Woodlands South MRT, right, is just like a street away, and this is where Norwood Grand is. And view wise, I wouldn't say it's so bad, because over here you actually have the expressway, and this portion here is actually a greenery view. So there are pros and cons to this lah. If you look at Coastal Cabana, the ones facing inwards, right, is away from the road noise. So as you are enjoying the view, you do enjoy peace and tranquility as well. Whereas for the one at Woodlands Drive 17, even though you will have unblocked greenery view, you will have the Seletar Expressway road noise as well. So this is something you have to take into consideration. One very similar condo to this, executive condo to this, would be Blossoms, which is at Bukit Panjang. So they have those that are facing expressway. So if you are like me, you don't mind the noise, you just want something that is with utmost privacy and unblocked view, this is something that you might want to consider lah. And on top of it, the convenience to the MRT station as well. Okay, and lastly will be Rivelle. Okay, in terms of view, I feel this condo would be the most lacking, but I would say Tampines is one of the most developed and mature estate in Singapore. And on top of that, right, there will be an integrated development, mixed use development coming up, and you are also within walking distance to the Tampines West MRT station. The only view which you might have, because you see you are most likely surrounded by a lot of HDBs or private, right, the only views which you might have, and which I feel the developer will angle towards, would be the industrial side, because the ones over here are the ones that are the low rise. Of course, we do not have the actual site plan out yet, so this is just my guess. So the ranking is as such. The first, based on accessibility, right, would be Woodlands Drive and Tampines Rivelle, followed by Coastal Cabana. And in terms of view wise, it will be Coastal Cabana followed by Woodlands Drive 17 followed by Rivelle. So if you want somewhere in between where you have some sort of a view and great accessibility, perhaps you would want to consider the one at Woodlands Drive 17. Moving on, right, let's look at the land bid price of each individual executive condo, because it will give us an indicative of how much the developer will launch when it comes to the launch date itself. Okay, so for Jalan Loyang Besar, it was won by the developer Qingjian, and the estimated break-even is 1326 PSF PPR, making it the lowest out of the 3 projects. Okay, following which I believe will be launching in January, Woodlands Drive 17. The estimated break-even is actually 1006 PSF PPR. So the estimated launch price, it might be the most expensive EC that we have ever seen launch since the beginning of time. A very reputable developer, CDL. And if you remember, Norwood Grand, which is just opposite, right, is developed by CDL as well. So CDL actually trying to monopolize the area lah. And if for those who have visited Norwood Grand Show Flat, right, you would have realized, right, that the developer did a very good job in terms of the floor plan for Norwood Grand. Okay, and lastly, we have the one at Tampines Street 95. The last 2 launched for the Tampines area. The first is Parktown, which averages around 2324 PSF, and the next will be another executive condo called Oriel of Tampines, launching at an average of 1007 to 1008 PSF. Okay, so at 1380 PSF PPR, we are expecting them to launch above 1007. Okay, not surprisingly, it is the same developer as Oriel, bidded by Simlian. Oriel did extremely well. If I could, I would have balloted for a unit there, but I haven't reached my MOP so I couldn't get any unit there as well. So this is something that's very exciting. Okay, in terms of estimated launch price, if the developers were to make a profit of 20, 30, 40%, okay, of their break-even price, this is the price that you could be expecting. Of course, I don't believe they will start with a 20% profit margin. Maybe for Woodlands Drive, but not so much for Coastal Cabana and Rivelle. Okay, my reason being, Oriel of Tampines already transacted from 1007 PSF already, and the response is so good. What makes the developer want to reduce their profit margin, right, when people are already accepting a certain PSF rate? So a safe estimate, I would say, for Coastal Cabana is 1724, for Rivelle would be 1794, around 1008 PSF lah. Maybe for the lower floor units or units with slightly inferior view, they would launch at a lower PSF, but averagely I would think it will be around 1008 PSF as well. For Woodlands Drive, it will be interesting because I believe averagely they will launch around 1009 to 2000 PSF. Okay, for some context, Faber Residences, right, which just preview, they only started from 2002 PSF only, 2001, 2002 PSF. So this is very, very close to a new launch condo pricing already. Okay, which the next question come in. Do you think government will increase the income ceiling required to buy executive condo? Because it seems like more and more people are getting priced out from executive condo as well, right? But this is just something I have in mind. Okay. So these are the average prices for Simlian, as which I mentioned earlier. Averagely, they transacted around 1767 PSF. And the last EC that was launched, which performed very well as well in my previous video, Auto Place, they launched at around 1757 PSF on average as well. There's still some remaining units, the smaller 3-bedroom, compact 3-bedroom, which is very efficient in layout, 850 square feet, which make the price starting from around 1.4 million as well. So if you're keen on that, do drop me a DM and I can run through with you the floor plan and stuff as well. Okay, moving on. Okay, if we base on Coastal Cabana 1007 PSF, Woodlands Drive 1009 PSF, and Rivelle 1008 PSF, this would be the estimated pricing for a 3-bedroom if it's at 900 square feet, 3-bedroom if it's at 1000 square feet, and 4-bedroom if it is at 1200 square feet. Okay, Coastal Cabana will be from 1.5 million, 1.7 million, and 2 million onwards, whereas for Woodlands Drive it will be 1.7, 1.9, 2.28 million, and lastly for Rivelle it will be 1.62, 1.8, and 2.16 million. Of course, all these are just my estimate for you to make your own calculations beforehand to see if it is affordable to you and how much down payment you need. Of course, 3-bedroom now it is getting more and more popular, where they have the compact 3-bedroom at 818 square feet or 850 square feet. So it depends on how much your affordability is based on this chart over here. So if you were to rank it by 1, 2, and 3, which would be the cheapest on launch day? Definitely it will be Jalan Loyang Besar, followed by Tampines Street 95, and lastly Woodlands Drive 17. Okay. Moving on, I'll be talking about the developer past track record based on their most recent project or most relevant projects to the ECs that are going to be launching. The first one which we'll talk about is Qingjian, and something that's most relevant, which I feel to Coastal Cabana, is Tenet, because this is an EC at Tampines that just collected their keys. Okay, I'll just be talking about 3 and 4 bedroom because majority of the executive condos launched nowadays, they mainly build 3 and 4 bedroom. So if you were to look at the 3-bedroom for Tenet, right, there's a few different layout, but I chose these two in particular. They have a compact 3-bedroom layout, 893 square feet. Do remember this is a pre-harmonized layout, so aircon latch is actually considered in the actual floor plan. Okay. First thing you will note is there is no balcony for this layout, which is quite unusual for an executive condo or condo in general. And the second thing, which if I were to nitpick, right, is the kitchen is facing the bedroom area. Not saying that it's not good, but it's just a personal preference. I have seen many ECs that has this layout and perform very well as well. But for me, I just find this weird lah. Okay, all in all, executive condo itself, it's very efficiently planned by the developer. The space usage, everything, nothing to him. So this is just me being nitpicking. Okay, from 893 square feet, you can see they even squeeze in a home shelter over here, which is fantastic for especially for HDB upgraders, and especially if they have 1 or 2 kids, because this is a lifesaver. Believe me when I say so, because I serve many buyers, right, and they are all very particular if there are enough storage in the house, because one additional storage space, right, means they don't need to spend more on carpentry on ID. Okay. The next slightly bigger layout is the 958 square feet, and over here you see the two difference is they have a kitchen leading in from the entrance, and they have a balcony area as well. Okay, the only thing which I would yum over here is this study area. Like I mentioned in my auto place video before, it is slightly misleading lah, because this is just a lepak corner. If your kids do something wrong, then you will ask them to stand there and face the wall. But then again, you can sort of put a curtain over here and make it into a small storage, or if really need be, then you make it into a study lah. Next will be the 4-bedroom layouts for Tenet, which is a 4-bedroom reference for Coastal Cabana. Wet and dry kitchen concept, which is very tastefully done. The only thing which I feel, because of space constraint, is it is only 1109 square feet, is that the 4th bedroom is pretty small. As you can see from the image over here, you can only put a single bed lah. And the living area is slightly short as well, so you have more space in the dining, but when it comes to your living, it's slightly narrow. Okay, moving on. Next, we have Woodlands Drive 17, and the nearest comparison would definitely be Norwood Grand because they are the same developer, CDL, right? And I feel the way they develop, because this is a post-harmonized project, do take note, this 872 square feet is bigger than the previous 3-bedroom, which I showed you slightly earlier on. Okay, see, the first thing you notice, they have a balcony and they have an enclosed kitchen over here as well, and they have a very long living and dining area and a 玄关 over here, which some people think is good for feng shui, some feel is good for privacy reason, because people do not want to enter and straight away see out of the unit. Bedroom are pretty proper size, and the master bedroom itself is very huge. Same thing over here, they have this weird corner study area, which to me don't make sense lah, because if you put a study here and you have a chair, then your corridor, people cannot walk already. Or if every time people want to walk, right, you have to make way, paise for them. Okay. Next, interestingly, something that I like a lot is a dumbbell 3-bedroom layout, because the space usage is really efficient. Look at the placement of the study over here. Even though it's still like a very small corner, but because it's not at a long and narrow corridor, right, this actually makes more sense as well, because you can have your study desk over here, put a whiteboard over here, or put cabinets over here, right, and you still can have people walking in and out in this corridor. Okay, and over here they have a proper dry kitchen and a wet kitchen. Only thing over here which you will notice, because this is a dumbbell layout, most likely is in the middle of the entire stack, there's no windows for the kitchen. So if you're someone that like to cook, then obviously this is out for you lah. But this coming in, you have like a very wide L shape. Your house actually looks very big. Okay. Moving on is the 4-bedroom for Norwood Grand. Okay. Same thing coming in, small 玄关 over here. And over here, this time round, you have a home shelter, which previously for the past two, you do not have lah. So it'll be very interesting to note whether Woodlands Drive 17, they will build a 3-bedroom with home shelter for the owners over there. And if they really build that, right, where would the compromise of space be at? Okay, of course, 4-bedroom, because you're paying premium, there's nothing to help. You do have a proper study area, and if you feel that it's too small, you can hack this away, combine this bedroom 2 and study into a huge ass bedroom. You can add like a junior master, and you have bedroom 4 and bedroom 3 over here. Okay, last one which we'll be comparing is also very recent, will be Rivelle of Tampines, because it's developed by Sim Lian, which happens to be the same developer for Rivelle. And okay, not to have any spoiler, but this is the one which I'm looking forward to the most lah. Okay, because the layout for Rivelle of Tampines is really very nice, and it's apple to apple comparison, executive condo to executive condo, and the launch date is almost just 1 year apart. Okay, so coming in, you can see this 840 square feet. Mind you, what is 840 square feet? They have a storeroom over here, which is amazing, and this kitchen is just nice for me. Okay, 840 storeroom, kitchen, windows over here, and you have a proper living dining, and all the bedroom itself can actually fit a queen size bed or a double size bed. Okay, and they have a small balcony here as well. So nothing to nitpick about this layout except for the kitchen, because there are people that prefer to cook, do heavy cooking, and they have a huge family, right, and they definitely need a bigger kitchen area. But for me, honestly, I don't care lah. The first thing if I were to buy, right, is I will hack this part away, combine this into a very big living room. I will hack this away, make this into an open kitchen concept. So this whole thing over here, right, will be my living, dining, and kitchen area. Okay, because I have no kids. But that's for me. Okay, but of course, those with kids or those that like to cook more, we have a slightly bigger one at 872 square feet. Notice the difference. It's only 32 square feet difference. But you have a bigger kitchen area over here. Of course, where the compromise will be at will be the bedroom will be slightly smaller lah, and they have a WC here as well. Okay, but all in all, the price from here to here, right, is not that huge of a jump because it's only 30 square feet. At the end of the day, for all three EC, I believe they will perform very well, especially for Coastal Cabana and Rivelle. It really depends on your balloting luck and whether you can afford. And this is the 4-bedroom reference, same for all of Tampines. Nothing to hiam. You come in, you look at your dining area, you have your kitchen with your bomb shelter over here. Okay, and 4 proper bedroom with 1-2 toilets. And for the premium 4-bedroom itself, if you can see over here, coming in, do not look directly into your unit, and this is where it gets very interesting. Very huge landscape layout with balcony. 有钱买这个 confirm earn a lot of money in the future because of the spaciousness of the unit itself. They have a proper dry kitchen over here and a wet kitchen, and you can change this into a glass panel as well. And they have a yard area, WC with a bomb shelter at only 1206 square feet. Do you know how efficiently they plan this layout? So I'm really very looking forward to how Sim Lian will design Rivelle. I believe it will not be too far off given the performance of Aura of Tampines as well. Of course, developer will want to replicate that, right, and make sure the public enjoy it, and if they enjoy, they will want to pay slightly more. So this layout itself, I believe, would perform very well. Okay, the only thing, if you really ask me to really nitpick, is maybe they could have one more bathroom in between here lah. But then again, you cannot hear because it's only 1206. The last part will be transformation. I'll be just touching briefly on all the different transformation for the area, but I believe lah, it's not a huge factor because Executive Condo itself, right, they have a very good track record. I think almost 99% of all the owners would profit from buying an Executive Condo. Like I always tell my clients, Executive Condo is an asset class, right? It's something that 你有钱都可能买不了. So it's not a choice of whether you are able to afford an Executive Condo or not. It's whether you are able to buy an Executive Condo with all the restriction in place and whether you have luck in balloting for it. Okay, so for Coastal Cabana itself, there will be a new neighborhood in the area, and these are planned housing plots which can yield up to, if I remember correctly, around 7,000 to 8,000 units over there. On top of that, right, Coastal Cabana is the latest launch in Pasir Ris area for the longest time. I think the last launch was, if I'm not wrong, let me check, White Waters, which was around 10 years ago. Am I right? Yeah, I think White Waters around 10 years ago, 10 to 12 years ago, but I'll put the information over here in case I'm wrong lah. So when you are building out an area and this is the new one coming up, right, the potential for upgraders in the area, there will be more potential for more HDB upgraders in that area itself. And of course, with all these new housing plots, because all these are zoned for residential, right, if they are private residential, it would drive up your price as well. Because if you notice, right, each GLS, right, only get higher and higher. So all these, be it EC or condos over here, will just set a new benchmark pricing, right, for you if you want to sell your unit in the future. Okay, next would be Woodlands area. Not much need to be said for this area itself. They are developing it to be the regional center, and one thing you do have to note is Singapore commitment, right, to make it the largest economic hub in the Singapore North region. By and large, something you do have to take note is there's already a lot of executive condos in that area, but the last being North Wave, which is also quite some time ago lah. And given that Norwood Grand is performing so well and so many BTOs in the area as well, we do believe that this is an area which you can look forward to. And lastly, if we were to rank the last of all transformation, right, it'll be Tampines lah. But of course, then again, Tampines is only looking to enhance its regional center. Means they are looking to make enhancement. There will be new housing coming up, new developments coming up, but they will not be in terms of size and growth, right, as massive as Woodlands or even Pasir Ris area, because do remember this is already a mature estate. But with that being said, right, people like me, right, I want to buy into something that is readily available, so the enhancement will make the place even more livable, like more sheltered walkway, more community center, and I don't want to wait so long for things to be ready. I want things to be ready already, and people are already paying record prices for Tampines as well lah. So this is something I feel, if I were to buy out of the three, my personal preference would be I will be buying the one at Tampines Street 95. But of course, I'll go and try my luck for Coastal Cabana. Maybe not Woodlands because I'm not really a Woodlands person, but I don't mind trying my luck for Coastal Cabana and see whether I get any sea view unit as well. So these are just some of my thoughts and opinion, and the last would be a summary based on the ranking itself. If we were to judge based on location itself, Woodlands would come out on top because I give it an additional plus point because it's just opposite JB lah. So if the RTS is coming up, you traveling to JB, you stay in Singapore but spend Singapore dollars in Malaysia, you will have a lot of cost savings. So MRT is a plus as well. Coastal Cabana is the least, nothing much need to be said, even though it's very convenient with downtown. It's just right opposite. It is still not that near to an MRT station. In terms of view, it will be the other way around. Coastal Cabana ranked first, followed by Woodlands and by Rivelle. Entry price wise, Coastal Cabana, because it is one of the earliest land plot being sold out of these three, followed by Rivelle and Woodlands. Woodlands bought almost 300 PSF or close to 300 PSF higher than Rivelle. So it will be interesting to see how they launch it lah. And Rivelle as well, based on the strong performance of Oriole and Tampines. Not sure whether the developer will be greedy, but hopefully not. So 老百姓 like us can still have a chance to own a piece of executive condo. Floor plan wise, I did not make any ranking because everything is just based on past reference. But the track record for all these three developers are actually very well. And if you really were to pick, right, CDL is actually a Band 1 developer lah, so they are quite reputable in that sense. And for their past few projects, the recent new launches that they have been doing, they have been quite impressive with they're implementing like concierge services in OCR areas, like the Mist, which usually you only find in high-end project in the CCR area. And lastly, if we were to look at the transformation, if you want to bet your dollar to maximize the profit, right, go for the Woodlands area. Or if you are just someone like me, you prefer something that is readily available, everything is at your doorstep already, then Rivelle would be the one that is the most mature estate lah. But personally, my preference, I will go for this A, which I mentioned earlier on my reasons. Hopefully you like my video. Do remember to like, share and subscribe. And if you want to attend any of the show flat, do remember Coastal Cabana is launching on 6th of December, followed by most likely Woodlands 17 and Rivelle. I will be doing more introduction videos on all three executive condos separately. And if you have any questions, do remember to drop me a DM. If not, thanks for your watching.